Hello, everyone, and welcome to Roast My Portfolio. In this event, we will be destroying design portfolios for the greater good of the design community. And we have handpicked lucky, or should we say unlucky, design portfolios from the Blush community submissions to get reviewed by our guest panel today. So come and gather around the roasting fire, and we will supply sick burns, sizzling insights, and plenty of very hot tips that everyone can use to improve their portfolios and design work. And we are joined by guest Sharon Onyinye and guest Showalter, and Jesse Showalter. And Sharon is a UX UI design YouTuber who shares design tutorials and career advice to help anyone become a better designer. Jesse Showalter is a YouTube star, or should we say superstar, who is a UI designer for startups, creator of online content, and teaches about design, code, and life. And well, yeah, so I don't know, Sharon, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background.
Hi everyone, my name is Sharon Onyinye, and I'm originally from Nigeria, Lagos precisely. I've been a designer for a couple years, started out as a graphic designer, did a little bit of coding, and then found my way in UX design. So right now I'm in Berlin, Germany, and I'm really excited to be a part of this roast.
Awesome. And you, Jesse, tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. Yeah, my name is Jesse Showalter. I'm a designer, developer, originally from Honolulu, Hawaii, residing currently in Austin, Texas. And I have been designing for over a decade. I've worked for startups and marketing agencies and design agencies. I've freelanced, and I just love people. I love learning, and I love sharing information with people. So I think design is more than just pixels. It's about problem solving, and problems revolve around people. So I just dig people.
I love that. I love that. And I think we're going to be doing a lot of something that you actually do on your YouTube channel too. You help people with giving advice on their portfolios. And I want to know, like, before we even get started, what do you think makes a great design portfolio, in your opinion? What are the essentials?
Right. Yeah. For me, I love, obviously, I want to see the work, but more than anything, I was kind of sharing a little bit with Sharon before we started. I love to see people's personality, because at the end of the day, whether your portfolio is geared towards landing a new full-time position or maybe landing clients because you're a freelancer, people want to work with people, right? So there's lots of dribble shots. There's lots of Behance portfolios. I want to know about you. I want you to shine through a little bit so that I want to work with you or make you part of my team if I'm a hiring manager. I'm looking for people. I'm looking for personality, and I'm looking for some really good work.
Awesome. What about you, Sharon? What do you see, or what do you think are the essentials that make a great design portfolio, in your opinion?
So similarly to Jess, I do love to see your personality shine through, and you talk about what you do on the side, what interests you, what are your hobbies, things like that. It's easier to relate to, and it kind of catches my fancy a lot. I do also like seeing very clear hierarchies. It's super easy for people to, really follow through and understand. And I love to see processes. And one thing I always say is process is not linear, so it doesn't necessarily have to be like a really strict approach to something, but just tell us how you solve the problem. What did you do from point A to Z? I do quite enjoy seeing those processes, especially when they're phrased in a really realistic way. So you're not, just kind of just copying and pasting the process that you saw online, but you actually told us like what happened when you were working on this project. I think those are really, really important for me.
Yeah, I love that you're mentioning that, because sometimes when you are reviewing portfolios, it does look like that. Like they all went to the same template or what a design, process should be. So I'm pretty sure that a lot of these case studies, they actually are reverse engineer, where it's like, oh my God, I suppose, did I actually do any research? Okay, let me go and say that I did some research, and then
Sure.
they write that stuff.
Wireframes that are made like after the fact, right? And then slapped into the case study.
Oh, love that. I sometimes I do that with clients, or with like if I'm working on a product, I will work in the high fidelity. It's like, oh, I shouldn't show this. So then I will like actually like put it in a really simple way.
I'd like to say that I don't do that, but come on, we all do that a little bit every once in a while, don't we?
Everybody's done.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure a lot of these design portfolios are actually like, oh, look at the sketch and look at the work. You did this like before the fact. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. But yeah. So yeah. Well, actually, let's get started. Why don't we get into it? We're going to start with, or first up, we have a portfolio from Aaron Rudik. And Aaron is a product and web designer with a degree in global business and digital arts from the University of Waterloo. And he currently works at Tangen Systems. So let me share my screen so we can see Aaron's portfolio. And okay, so we have Aaron apparently like really, like he went and took a photo with a professional photographer and said, okay, this is going to be the first thing that I want people to see.
He also said, make me look like Hugh Jackman in The Prestige. He's like, I want to seem like a stage illusionist.
Yes. Oh my God, you're right. Yes, because of all the
poof and the drama. I love it. I'm into it.
But yeah, by the way, I hadn't noticed that. It's really slowly, subtly the fog or that is moving, and it looks like it's 2 images. No, it's 3. I can see. I think it's 3.
I see 3, kind of all moving at different timings.
Yeah, one of them looks like it's moving in a different direction. The one in the background, and well, that's a nice touch. So tell us, Jesse, what do you think?
When I hit this page, what it tells me is, it tells me he's serious, right, about what he does. He takes his craft very seriously from the drama of the image that I see. And also it's the dark background. Everything is just kind of this really serious kind of thing. So I'm looking for like a very, like somebody who's very serious about their craft in general and is going to put the work in down below to show us everything he does. That's what I kind of see.
Yeah, and I can see that there's a little arrow telling us like, yo, there's more. There's more.
A little more to this magic trick. Let's go.
Yeah, and but I do wanna know what you think, Sharon, like about this hero image and like Aaron here, because one thing that you mentioned is like the personality. Does it have personality? Do you want to work with this person? Do you feel it gets that? And what do you get from this?
This feels powerful, kind of, like I imagine this guy knows his stuff, and so it just sets this expectation, which could be a good thing or a bad thing, to be honest, because it sets the bar really high. So it's like, after I scroll, am I still going to be this intrigued? Am I still going to be this engaged? Is it going to keep up with this? So that's one thought. Then after that, I would say that off the top of my head, this is the kind of designer everybody wants to be. The one who is not just good at the flows and stuff, the one who can catch your eye with the visuals. So for starters, really impressed, super impressed, but I'm also wondering, when we scroll, will we keep up the tempo?
Right. Yeah. Now, question, before we get into it, like, is it a turn off? Like, is it a turn off? Like, oh, like putting too much attention, like you said, like, oh, I'm expecting too much from this person, and then he's putting too much attention. And I want to think in himself, but it's also a portfolio, so it's about him. Right. Like, is this like I don't know, like almost like a magic act where it's like, hey, Aaron, like, you be ready to what you're going to see. Do you think it's a turn off, or is actually like do you feel intrigued?
I'm intrigued. I would just say that I hope it just maintains.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I'm intrigued, but I would actually, I think it's a great thing if he is this kind of serious guy, very serious about his craft, really talented and skilled. But if we get down and like, if I met Aaron in person and he likes to joke around and like he watches Rick and Morty and likes to talk about it, I'm going to go, does the portfolio match your style? Because to me, a portfolio is an opportunity in the look and feel of the presentation of it to match you, right? So I would just be concerned that if he's not this super serious guy, maybe it doesn't speak of him like very on par with who he actually is.
Love
Yeah.
that. So be true to yourself. And if this is not matching that, and it's only because it looks cool and maybe or what you want to be, maybe I don't know. Like don't be too afraid to show yourself, right?
Right.
More of yourself, because at the end of the day, you're looking for an interview, and they're going to actually meet you. They're going to talk to you. So
Exactly. It would
so
be a
my
real shame to have this, and then you like again, you meet him, and he's like the biggest Rick and Morty kind of funny guy, and then when as a hiring manager or like on a team trying to hire, it makes me think, did do you know how to translate a brand tone? Because technically your own brand, right? So
Yeah.
exactly.
do you know how to communicate your own brand tone? And if you don't, if you're just throwing things out that look cool, I don't know. I could talk about it all day. It could be really interesting. It's a philosophical question.
Philosophical question. So let's okay. So now let's start scrolling, and there's an animation here. Then the background changes, and I think it adapts to this. Also, we have an effect, so we can see the product here. It has like a 3D effect. It's almost like a 2D, like simulated 3D effect with like what I think it's going on here, and like following the mouse too. And if we keep scrolling, we see that the background keeps changing. You know, like I suppose like to the color of the brand of the project.
Keeping it
Like,
immersive, like it.
yes, yeah,
Well,
exactly. So it's immersive. We have the mobile over here, and okay. So now I want to get your thoughts about this.
Sharon, what do you think about this?
I, for one, really love these interactions and how you point at something and then it moves. And so it's really giving me, very much solid visual interaction skills. I do have some questions just by glancing at the mock-ups themselves, but we're not going to focus on that too much. But for the interactions, absolutely love. I am also curious to see how this would render on mobile. Do these interactions retain? Is there a way that he also thought to, make it super interesting on mobile as well?
Yeah,
It's
I would wonder about the mobile experience as well. One thing that I really give him credit for is interactions can be so fun and they can really add like just that little bit of spice to something, right? But he's done something that I really respect, which is especially on the desktop version, the actual title cards for the project, those don't move. So they're always legible. So here's what I'm getting from Aaron. He's creative, he's inventive, but he still cares about some of those core user experience things like legibility, readability of text. So I applaud him big time for that one.
yeah, and also like having one thing that is static, I think amplifies the motion of the other stuff.
Yeah.
Because like in relation with the static stuff, like oh, okay, I can see that some of it is moving. Also, by the way, like when you hover this, then it like oh, you don't want to look at it in a perspective. You actually want to look at the design. It allows you to do that because everything looks cool in a
Sure.
perspective. And I was like, okay, you can look at it without perspective. So let's click on one of these. Like, which one do you want to click? Polylog, unsupervised, or chef? Let's not on this one because it looks like, I mean, if he's putting these three on the top, that means that he wants you to look at one of these three, right?
I say let's go with the top one.
Yeah.
Okay, top one, which is something that people usually will do. They will look at your first thing that you put only because we're lazy and we're looking at a ton of portfolios and we have no time. So make it easy for us. Put all the way to the top the thing that you actually want us to look at, because like that will be the hook, and then maybe we'll start looking at the other stuff. So okay, Polylog, we arrived to this page. What do you think?
I think he's continued that vibe of like immersion, right? So he's jumped in, brand colors there. Typography is like big, the subtle typography of the name in the background, it captures you. And I also think he did a good job of implementing the information I probably need right at the top, which is client, your role, the platform, just some details like that. I love getting those right away. And always a link to see the project is great. I also think he did a great job at just dropping this little tiny sliver, like right, quote unquote, above the fold, right? And it's a natural flow for my eye. I'm intrigued. I want to keep going.
Yeah, exactly. I love that because it allows you to see like, hey, there's more. Sharon, I cut you off.
Oh no, no worries. I was really disagreeing. I was really disagreeing. That makes a lot of sense. I agree. And I also just want to point out, I love the combinations of typography going on here. I
Nice.
love a good pair of a sans font and a sans serif font. It always makes me so happy to see it. So I really love this typography going on here. And I love that I can easily see the important information at the top, the client, definitely the button to view the project live, and just the top part of it. So I'm really excited to see more about this project and understand what went on.
Yes, this is I think something that every case study or whenever you see the detail of a project needs to have, where it's like, hey, quickly tell me what this project is about, like what your role was, and also show me, like, give me at least a visual of what it look at the end. We
Yeah.
might get into sketches, we might get into the user interviews and all those other photos, but right away, just tell me, like, how it looked at the end, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
and I see this, it's like, oh, look at this. It's almost like starting a movie when it's starting at the end, you know,
Mhm.
and it keeps you captivated because you want to know how you got to that end. Is it like, and so like, Anna, now let's go back in time and let's look at how this thing was actually done. So like, I'm looking at this and I'm like, I don't know, Aaron is pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
he promised us quality, and he said, like, I'm awesome, and look at this.
Yeah, I agree. One thing that well, two things. One thing I think he's proving at the very top in this hero section of this project is that I think a lot of times we think we need that big hero shot like up there in your face, but he's proving that typography and color can be really beautiful. And it can be really simple, and then he's leading you to that hero shot to see. But the other thing I would say is I don't think that this gradient navigation is doing much for him. I think he could. It just feels like a little bit of old, like shoved on top here. And the clarity of things is kind of bad as you drift down the page, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I do like that he has a consistent navigation, and if you want to go somewhere else, but I do agree with that gradient. Gradients. Here's one thing I think about gradients. If you are not a master of gradients, don't use gradients. Like, seriously, it's one of those things that it either looks like the coolest thing ever, or like the worst thing ever.
Sure.
Like, there's no in between. And so, like, yeah, like a solid, like, I cannot read the text.
Can't read
This
it.
is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. As you go down the page, that white text with that really light gradient, I would have rather just thrown a hamburger menu up at the top so this portfolio piece could either stay immersive or box that navigation out with something like nice and big and white or black, and let me see it, right? But in the middle, it's like in the words of the famous Eminem, "Ain't no such thing as a halfway crook," right? Like, you got to be one or the other.
There you go. I love that. Okay, cool. So let's we start going here, and again, use a typography, and look at this animation. This is a
Love it.
scroll-based animation. So if we go back, and then we come here, and then we see it this way. What are your thoughts about this, Sharon?
I quite like this animation, but I do fear that it's taking away from the text just a little bit. So I want to see the imagery, but I also want to read what's going on. And so having them side by side, especially with the size and everything, it's a bit distracting, and I really do want to understand what I'm seeing or read the context of what I'm seeing. So I don't know if it's a combination of the sizing, if it's the heading not being very distinct versus the body text. The priority is a little off to me. The hierarchy rather is a bit off.
What do you think, Jesse?
Yeah, I think, animations are great, right? And and we all have, like, I'm sure he built this in Webflow. He seems like a big Webflow guy. The danger, of animations is there's a lot of power in it, and therefore there's a lot of responsibility you have to take. So I think that this animation is a little bit too aggressive in your face. It actually doesn't match the rest of the subtleness of his site. It seems to be the one thing that just jolted into quick, fast, intense. And I would rather see consistency in animation whether that be timing, easing, style throughout the entire thing. So I would agree with Sharon, and then also add that.
Yeah, yeah. I think sometimes we get caught up on showing, look at what I can do. Like he obviously feels really proud of this, the technical aspect of this, that he's able to add a scroll based animation that does this 3D effect where like he was able to tell us a story with this, but this part of the story feels disjointed with the rest, and sometimes I'm going to believe it's because it was a little bit of vanity of like showing the cool stuff I can do. Look at
Sure.
this, but I don't know. But let's continue, because I feel one thing that you guys mentioned is like the use of typography and telling the story. How are you feeling about the rest of the page?
Sharon, you go for it.
Wow. So far, I feel like there could be more in terms of the actual wording and content. And I'll be honest, as a designer, writing portfolios and the case studies is hard. Sometimes you don't even really know how to put what you did into words. So scrolling through this, I feel that there could be more information. I think, and then also these illustrations to me don't seem to quite match with the rest of the style. And I'm not too sure that it adds a lot of value either. So I think there's a lot of pictures and things going on, but I think the actual content of the story, the text could be a bit more. What do you think, Jess?
I'll play advocate for Aaron this time. Maybe I don't think these undraw illustrations do anything for anybody. He should probably get a hip to the blush plugin, Pablo.
Yes. What's going on there?
But so I don't think they're doing anything for him, but maybe this is what actually had to go into the project. Maybe he's trying to represent all the assets that actually made their way into the final design. So maybe that's the case, but I do agree that the sections, they're not really intriguing. I mean, the typography is fine. I think the sections below that actually, these sections here, where he's balancing a snippet of information, and it actually fixes a little bit as you scroll, so you can see everything as you move up and down. I love that. But he's balancing story with visual. I think this is an important thing to do, because, quite often we put a lot of stuff that's like too long, don't read in our case studies. And it can be tedious as somebody who's looking for a designer to read through these stories. I mean, again, I have to go back to what is he really hoping for, from this portfolio? Land more jobs, or get more clients, or find a full-time? I would make sure each of these case studies are quick, and a little bit quicker maybe, and readable.
Yeah, I have to agree, Jesse. I would have expected this after this. Like suddenly, like I get hit with this like really visual, look at this, and then text, a lot of text. And it's like it stops being interesting and stuff that feels disjointed. And then we get to the good stuff. It's like, oh, I would have preferred like having that visual, like that balance, like as you're describing it, of text and also visual story, like side by side. A little bit of, like, I don't know, like if we want to remove some of this stuff, maybe there should be also some balance here. But I don't know. Like, what do you think, Sharon?
Yeah, I do totally agree that as you go down, it definitely gets more appealing. And there's this thing of trying to explain design rationale when presenting your portfolio. So if you're writing a case study, people also want to know this thing that you ended up designing, why? What information kind of led you here? Why did you choose this approach ultimately? And I think that's a really important thing to always try to include in your portfolio. I think it's not always very easy to explain, but just kind of giving a bit more of like context and background of what led to what, and not just driving directly into solutions. So again, it doesn't have to be like faking your wireframes before the project, but just maybe knowing a little bit more about why certain things were done the way they were could be great.
One of the things I just realized kind of interesting, if you scroll down kind of further down to the bottom of this case study, you get to the part that says discussion or any of those pieces, or commercial awareness. Each of these are actually describing a feature, like the edit history one that's like right above. He's describing how the design actually plays into feature, which actually, as somebody who does front end development, is nice to see, because it tells me he's trying to figure out how to solve individual problems. I get the feeling that Aaron knows how to communicate with the engineering team. All right.
Yeah, and I love. Sorry, Sharon. No. Please.
Okay. So I also agree with that, and definitely, I always highlight. It's something I mention from time to time, that it's really cool if, beyond showing pictures of what you have done, you kind of also give us some context to what you did and explain what exactly it is that it does. That's an extra step, and it makes it so much more relatable. You know, so you have this cool page. Oh, cool. What does it do? And then you can tell us a bit more. And I quite like that he did this. The main thing to me that I would honestly take out of this page, if I just had a minute to just push disappear, would be those illustrations. Yeah. Every other thing I think could be worked around. They just don't go.
Yeah, I'm the biggest fan of illustration, and I would say that too, because like I don't see the illustration in the actual solution. I can see some iconography here. So like going back to like Abe, I was in the hopes, like what you were saying, Jesse, where it's like, oh, well, maybe he used these illustrations because they were part of the project, the communication of the project, but I don't see them anywhere. So it feels like it was more of a, like, okay, let me add an illustration for this.
Yeah, I think, the one thing, and to agree with you guys, one thing that I think Aaron's done a really good job throughout his site, that this is the moment where that fails, is he's looked very expensive everywhere, right? And then he gets to these free illustrations, these undraw illustrations, and then he ceases to look expensive. And that's, I think it's just like a little bit off brand. That's what I think there.
Yeah.
And one tiny detail is that this illustration on the thumbnail, you don't find it anywhere within
that's right.
the actual content.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we were thinking that this was going to be part of the product too, but we're realizing that no, we didn't see it anywhere. Okay, well, I think this is good. We can jump to the next one, but this is Aaron. Say hi to Aaron if you are looking for like someone who's great at Webflow and like really good design. I think you should contact Aaron. I think it sounds like he is available for freelance projects. And now, should we move on to the next one? Any other highlights or something you want to share before we move on to the next one?
Yes, one last one just about Aaron is, overall, I think this is a really, really cool portfolio. And I do love the fact that he has some Webflow freebies at the bottom. So if you scroll to the bottom, you see he has freebies. Always love to see people that are giving back one way or the other to the community. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, these are all clonable too. Look at this one. This one is a website UI kit with over 1,200 clones. Wow. That's pretty cool. Anything else you want to add, Jesse?
No, I love his photo at the very bottom. It's got this kind of fun, gritty. It looks like my grandfather, in the 1950s. I love it. He looks like a charming dude, and I think that kind of encapsulates it a lot for me. Is like, I think he's doing some stuff with some charm. Like the site itself is engaging, fun, immersive, charming, and I applaud him for it. I also love that he says he makes this little joke in like the fourth line that he's talking about himself. He loves soundtracks, computers, and he rarely refers to himself in third person. There's that little bit of quirk. I like that.
Yeah, and you know what? I like this photo. I feel like this photo and that other photo tell me totally different stories.
Totally different, right?
Yes, yeah. And I don't know. It sounds like this is the actual Aaron, because if you read his bio and everything, it sounds like this is more. He looks even more natural and everything. So
I like smiley Aaron more than
Yeah.
prestige Aaron, I think. But both of them are Aaron, so I like them.
Yes, both arrows are cool. Okay, so let's move on to the next one, and the next one is from Tania Gutierrez, and Tania is, as you can see, she's experiencing creating visual comps for web and mobile, and marketing materials, design systems, and also rapid prototyping and functional front-end code. Wow, Tania does a little bit of everything. And you can see that even you can filter out stuff for what you want to see. You want to see just product? Boom. You want to see just visual stuff? Boom. Let's see it all. Okay, first thoughts, Sharon.
I like that it's clean. I love a clean, simple design. You know, we were just looking at one with like a lot more in terms of like animations and stuff, and that was cool. But I do like that this one is a lot quieter. Probably first look, not as much personality, you could say, but that's fine. Not everybody has to be like all out there. So I do like that. I do like the consistency so far in terms of the thumbnail patterns. I like that. And then also I like how easy it is to navigate from like one category to the other. So like the visual design, product design, I quite like this. So overall, I'm interested, but it's just a tad bit generic, but I'm interested.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's, it's funny. It's like, it's simple. There's a part of me, because it's really clean, good use of white space. It's like, I feel like it's leaning towards Apple-esque, but it's not really like as classic as like an Apple product. But I do love that each of the portfolio pieces down below, there's a style, right? There's a consistent style throughout. It's just really, really clean. I think I agree with Sharon. Like sometimes fancy schmancy is nice, but sometimes plain and simple and to the point can really get it done.
Yeah, I love these thumbnails. These thumbnails already tell me what I'm going to find out in there, and they tell me a really interesting story. I am hooked, and I want to look. I want to see what's going on in there, and yeah, and pretty simple. Whereas, like for example, with Aaron, like you had to scroll a lot, right, to see all the
Yeah.
different projects. And here with Tania, she's like, boom, right away. Like here are the different projects, and they, like she made them smaller, but that didn't mean that are less inciting. That like they're still really inviting, and I don't know. Like I want to click on one of these.
But
Which one should we click?
Before you click on one, I think one thing that I don't want to overlook is I'm always looking in a portfolio for somebody to say who they are, and then I want to see it immediately. So one of the things that Tania said in that top portion of the website was that she does rapid mobile and web prototyping and design systems. And then when you look down below, it's just the structure of it and the organization tells me she's very organized, right? This is a person who likes structure and who's probably going to err on the side of structure and does like that systematized way of thinking. And if that's something you're looking for, I think she's done a really good job at displaying it right off the bat.
Yeah, I would say also though that like in that structure there's playfulness.
There's playfulness still.
I can see it here in how she's putting the logos. This one a loop. Apparently, it was the logo what she designed. That's awesome. Like this, it seems like she has some kind of consistent style also in the stuff that she does. And like this logo, wow. I don't know. Maybe she didn't work on the logo, but I don't know. I'm loving that. It's a balance of both things.
I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited to see one of the projects actually and see how the case studies look.
Sharon, you're going to choose which project we're going to click on.
Yeah. Okay,
Come on.
Since we look for, let's go with the first one. I'm sorry, I can be a bit boring. Let's just go with
TurboTax. Okay, let's go TurboTax. We see the image on top. We see different avatars and says help entry interaction. And then boom, let's take a look.
it's a little on the stiff side when you first like run into it, but
Yes. So I'm just like going down and seeing, reading different considerations, the different use cases. It sounds like it's an entry interaction, like this avatar. Like, what are you understanding here?
Yeah, I think that's the primary. First, I think this looks really clean and neat, and that's a consistent theme so far. Love that. I love a portfolio that's just so easy to scan, and the hierarchy already looks really easy for me to go over. However, I'm not sure just by glancing at this, not reading too deeply, if I really understand what this project is about. So at the top, there isn't a very clear explanation of this is the project, this is what it's about, just brief introduction.
I think
Instead, the
I'm sorry,
header,
sure.
the text, no worries. The text says, Pablo, can you scroll up a bit?
Yes.
The text says, while working on this, I was assigned the task to assist this. So it's just, I'm kind of just not, I was a bit confused as to what was going on. But at the same time, I think if you really do take the time to read through, it might get a bit clearer.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
me, I agree. Like, I don't know what a help entry interaction is, right? So, and
Yes.
maybe somebody else looking at it also doesn't know what a help entry interaction is. And so, I think instead of putting help entry interaction and then again repeats it in the little subline at the top that talks about, hey, I helped Intuit create a help. You're just kind of repeating the same nomenclature that I may or may not understand. That could be a good thing, right? Maybe people who are looking for this type of work know, and you're speaking their language. Maybe that's the case. But maybe we need to write copy for our portfolio pieces and case studies that can describe the solution or the problem that you had to create a solution for in a little bit more of a clear way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. And I'm guessing that it's, well, obviously she's pointing these avatars, and it sounds like the interaction happens with the avatar. That's what I'm getting from this. And apparently it's here in the screen. You can see that the avatar's here. So it's like an avatar that helps you, like the help entry. And so I suppose it's like when you're working in a company that is as big as Intuit, and like with such a large project as TurboTax, as a designer, sometimes you will be tasked with something that is a small, like this, just this specific interaction, very specific into the
Yep.
product. So which is something that if you are like entering like the corporate world of I don't know, like a tech that have like design teams that are hundreds and hundreds of people, like you will be assigned a small task like this. So I'm guessing that Tanya put this all the way to the top, not only because it's Intuit, but also because like I am able to go deep into one specific project in a large corporation, and I can work on that specific stuff. That's what I'm getting from her decision of putting this as the first project here. Versus here, this was brand design. I'm pretty sure that it's going to be a far more interesting, at least visually, on that project. But I think Tanya is deciding, hey, I want to keep doing these kinds of projects that are really narrow, that feel narrow in reality. But in reality, I'm pretty sure that it's a big problem that she had to work on.
It's hard to work in teams that big. If you work at Google, like you can have a whole design team dedicated to the search bar, right? And I think a lot of times the hard part for me is this visual at the top. It diminishes that the nitty gritty into this very difficult problem she may have solved. So, I mean, for instance, even in that laptop picture, that little avatar is this big. I can't exactly, when you zoom in, this is what I actually want to see. This is your part to play. And it just makes it, I don't know, the whole thing just feels dwindled. So I think there's a way to do zoomed in kind of versions and case studies for very small kind of pieces that play into a broader design that work inside of a big enterprise level system like that. I think there's probably ways you could do it that highlight them a little bit better.
I think
Yeah.
maybe an animation here would have been great. Maybe it would have given more life to it. Maybe where you zoom in or where something moves and it just, like if you have like almost as if you have like a magnifying glass and then it just takes you there and then you zoom in and then you can see it. So something like that could probably have helped a little bit.
Yeah. Like I'm going to say that same problem that I'm seeing here was like it's hard for me to know what it is. Like I want to zoom in into these things too. These expressions look really good, like I want to zoom in into like, hey, what do you try here, Tanya? What was this one? So I was like, it sounds like, oh no, these are not explorations, but actual
Like a mood board.
oh, it's a mood
That's kind of like
board.
competitive set visual exploration, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, see, now I was confused.
You see, it's hard to kind of translate this, and because the module, the thing, the element that she worked on is so small, it's I feel like you need to zoom in into the micro, and that little avatar needs to be big, and then I need to have details on what it's supposed to accomplish, and I need examples and competitive sets to zoom way in, because all I see when I go up to that visual exploration is Tom Hanks. I'm pretty sure. Like,
Yes.
that's where my eye focuses on. I'm not looking at all the little micro interactions. I'm looking at the dude from the Green Mile.
Yeah. I was a little bit confused. So I suppose like Tom Hanks doing his taxes, is that what's going on? That's cool.
Yeah.
That I was confused. I thought this was still a TurboTax screen, but I was very
But I
very confused.
think what she wants us to look at is that little gradiated, warm, vertical menu there next to Tom Hanks. That
Exactly.
maybe she wants us to look at those avatars with that peachish kind of background to the right of Tom Hanks. But like, I don't know. All I'm looking at is very big interfaces with one tiny little piece that she's trying to represent, and I need to zoom in.
Yes.
One
So
really small thing to consider is the way we were confused about if that's a mood board, was it what she designed? I think that's something to also be very careful about, because if you're getting inspiration from what other people have worked on, that is 100% fine and cool. But just so it's not lost in translation at any point in time, so people know that this is not your work, it's someone else's work. So if it's a credits image from so and so, if it's specifically saying, oh, I got some pictures that I thought I liked, things like that. Just to be very clear, it's not your work, it's inspiration from somewhere else. That's really important.
yeah, I would say visual exploration made me think that those were explorations that she made. It didn't make me think this is a mood board or these are visual screenshots from competition or inspiration. Like I didn't get that, and I think also this could have helped made it a little bit more clear.
Yeah.
Or hold on, is that how you call it, visual exploration?
I mean, you could.
Yeah,
It depends. I guess it depends on what you do. But yeah, that could be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's just keep scrolling, and now we're looking at the stuff that actually she made, like the considerations. And I'm going to say again, I want to zoom in. Come on, show me this stuff. Like I want to see it a little bit bigger. Like, look at all the details that you put into this, like all the different states of this, and like I would have liked to. It's tiny.
It's tiny.
I don't feel it's that important.
Yeah.
When
If
it
I was
is-
you right now, Pablo, I would, not that you have to, but if I'm looking at this, I'm hitting Command Plus and blowing the whole thing up so I can read it bigger, because even the little captions underneath things that say visual exploration, the whole thing is just minuscule for me. And I got to tell you, if I was a hiring manager or somebody looking to hire a designer, you seem really talented, but I ain't got time for that. Like, there's other people that are making things easier for me to see their work and their process, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, one more thing is scrolling back to that table. It's this animated icon. I want to see the animation. I want to
Yes.
see something.
What's going on?
I feel like we're all saying like a similar thing, which is like, it feels a little flat. Everything just feels a little static, a little flat, and maybe it's not directing to the right places or directing her eyes to the right spots.
Like
Yeah,
I can
it's
clearly see she put a lot of work into this. This is good work. This is clearly someone who knows their stuff, but just taking it a notch higher with the presentation. So we feel it too, you know. And then
yeah.
everything seems to say visual exploration. I don't know if that's an error.
It says visual exploration again, and visual exploration, and visual exploration, and
Whoa! And then that's it. And then it ends.
then that's it. This is the good stuff.
That's a no-no. That's a no-no to show me a bunch of visual exploration and then not give me the final kind of thing you've gotten to, like solution, ta-da, like eureka, we got there, and here's how it implemented, and everything. I feel like the things that really matter are diminished, and they're not being the primary thing that they should be. And I feel like she's kind of shortchanging herself a little bit. She kind of knocked the legs out from underneath her for the power of this possible case study.
Yeah, it's like this is obviously amazing work. This is great work, and very detailed. But like you're saying, like it got lost. All that great work that she put, and by the way, over here I can click and zoom, but not over here. Come on, let me zoom here. And this is.
And you know what? I don't need the click and zoom. I just need it to be that like much bigger with better explanations of stuff. So lead me, like guide me, so I can figure these things out.
Yeah, totally. Well, I'm going to let me just click on one of these real quickly, and it seems like H is using the same format everywhere. That's good. It's consistent. I would say like maybe I think we're suffering from the same problem.
Yep.
Whereas like some of the great stuff that she made, is diminished. Again, like I should like zoom into the cool stuff. Like show me and tell me what this is, and then tell me what this is. Then maybe this looks very interesting. Zoom in and just like show me that and tell me about that stuff.
Which makes you feel like, I feel like if she could take a little something from Aaron's portfolio that we looked at, is a little bit more of that balance, a little bit more of that drama that Aaron was really good at telling that story with drama, I think, right? And whether it's his Hugh Jackman photo or the case study itself, like there was this drama and this story arc through everything that engaged you throughout. The other one's just not so engaging. It's a little flat.
Yeah.
I think one thing that would have really upgraded this would at least be like an embedded prototype. So even if you don't want to do an animation, embed a prototype. That always helps. If we can click around it, or you could even do a GIF of, I don't know, is that a GIF or GIF? I'm not really sure how they say these things, but
GIF, always GIF.
Okay, great. Of someone clicking around, and then it like loops, and that just adds so much more context. Let's see how it behaves. Let's see the how it would look.
Wait, what happened? I clicked on this, and then it take me. Oh my god!
Oh no! Okay.
So I'm looking at I'm a TurboTax, right?
Mm-hmm.
But look, this is blue. There's a little mix-up. Easy to fix.
That's okay.
That's okay.
It happens. I am curious to see her about me, though.
Yeah, let's find out more about Tanya. Hola, I'm Tanya. Oh, I like Tanya. Hey, what's up? Where is that? Hold on. Is that San Diego? That's San Diego, right?
I think so, yeah. She's a product designer in California. Could be.
Yes. So, okay. We see a little bit more about Tanya. What do you guys think?
Well, I would like some personality, just a little bit more. I love the picture. She looks personable. She looks like someone you want to say hi to. Someone that would be very easy to get along with. But I don't know. I don't know what it is that I'm looking for, but I just want to see her shine more through this.
That's right. Yeah, I was going to say the word that keeps coming to my mind is like, where's the pizzazz? Where's like just at least one little thing that's kind of pops, I just need like a little bit of energy and everything just feels a little bit like mellow and like there just could be a little bit more emphasis, effort, and pizzazz on one thing here or there to kind of keep me engaged. But the whole thing just kind of falls a little flat. I like Tanya's smile, and I even like that in the About Me. It said what she's looking for. I'm always open to full-time positions and freelance opportunities. Again, that's it tells me straightforward what Tanya's looking for. So I love that. I appreciate that. I just, I just wanted that little bit of something to make it kind of sing.
Yeah, like Tanya, don't don't put a scream on you. Hey, I want to see your full color. Instead of putting an overlay on top of you, I think that tells us a little bit about the work. She, in a way, put this on her work, which is amazing work, amazing stuff. But instead of making it bigger and just like you're saying, that pizzazz, so just like, hey, showing it more, like, hey, it's small, it's subtle, and it doesn't like jump and tell me, look at this. Once I zoom in, I see it as like, oh, look at this, look at all that cool stuff. But I had to do that.
Yeah, I think anytime we have to make people work to look at our work, it's not working.
Yeah. One little thing is, I quite like her cute little logo theme, the smiley face. I think that blue little smiley face is really adorable. It's cute. So I think on her About Me page, this would have been a great place to, I don't know, throw that in somewhere. If it's with the colors, if it's like maybe removing the background of your image and maybe using these blue lines to like do some outlines around yourself, just something to make it a bit more vibrant and just incorporating that. That's your logo. So like, let's see a bit more of how that kind of translates to you or has an overall theme in your portfolio. So if you notice her thumbnails, they have these nice lines on some of them pointing to something.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would have been, like here.
Maybe that's part of the brand though, right? So but I do feel like it does. Like you see that on the social learning platform one, and on the other one, that's the podcast artwork. I just see little kind of squigglies, a few things that make me go, that would have been, I just need something that kind of pops and it doesn't look like, man, I'm going to say this and I hope it doesn't sound bad, sound too harsh, but like it looks a little bit like a late 90s corporate website. You know what I mean? And I say that with all the love I have in my heart because I see all the talent that's there. I just want to see it come to life a little bit.
Yeah. I just would have liked to see her, like, this is your space. This is you. This is where you can just do you. So just put that in there, Why go for a picture like this when you could, take it a step further and, show us what you got.
It's just like also like, I feel like the rest of the site is really light and really like a white background and like, there's no dark one, even this one, like and then we go and let's see Tanya, and then it gets really dark. And I understand that it's because like creating contrast with this text and then incorporating the photo. I'm sure that was the design decision behind that was to do that.
But there's probably a better solution.
Yeah. Yeah. I just so it's consistent with the rest of the site and with that light that she brings in the rest of the projects and everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So any final thoughts?
Overall, I do quite like the portfolio and how neat and clean it is. It's not hard to understand at all, at least except for the parts that are just not clear, but it's easy to navigate. It's easy to see what she's good at. It's easy to see like her skills and go from one place to the other. And just having that use of white space makes it so easy on the eyes. And I do appreciate that.
Yeah, agreed. I think there's a lot of things that she's doing right. I just wish that she would just add that little bit of pizzazz. I think it could take her next level in the way that she presents herself and as a designer, because she has a lot of skill and she's a lot of detail. She's a very detail oriented seeming designer. And I think that that's something that a lot of people are looking for. So just be proud of that and pump that up a little bit, I think.
Yes, that's what what I was looking for. Be proud of your work and just like don't be afraid to show it. Okay, cool. So, well, thank you, Tanya, for sharing your stuff. I see other projects were really cool, powerful. This one is pretty colorful too, and I can see that there's a prototype here. Is this Tanya? I'm guessing that's Tanya, but maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. Hold on. Let's check the photo.
I think it is.
She doesn't have glasses here, but I'm going to think that that's her. Okay, so guys, I think we should end it there. What do you guys think?
I think that was great. I loved these submissions. I loved the portfolios. I think they did a great job. Very different in their nature, very different in their style and approach. And I actually think that both of them could learn something from the other. So a little bit of pizzazz over here, a little bit more consistency and structure over there. It's like you bring the two together to have a magical portfolio love baby, and it's like a match made in heaven.
Yes, I agree. A little bit of both, a combination, you have something.
So that's the thing. Designers are usually either or. That's just how we are. It's either you go all in pizzazz, shining, or you just want the super classic, simple stuff. There's usually no middle ground for us.
Well, this was a fun session. I think we did good with two portfolios. We went pretty deep. Like we went into a case study. We just like looked at consistency of everything. And hopefully people get some good insights from this. And well, I want to thank you, Sharon, Jesse. Thank you so much
thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And also obviously thank you to Tanya and to Aaron for sharing their portfolios. And we're going to be on our social media on Blush. We're going to just like put out there so other people can share their portfolios. If you want them to be reviewed, also like go deep in there and roast them. There wasn't a lot of roasting.
It was pretty nice.
It was pretty
mellow.
nice. You were pretty nice with people, pretty kind. And I think obviously there was some stuff where like feedback, criticism, but it's all coming from a place of love, I think. And hopefully it helps everyone also to see like, hey, maybe I should learn something from this. And yeah, so now let's take it to you. Sharon, where can people follow you and learn more about you? Like you have your YouTube channel, anything else? What do you have coming up?
So I do have my YouTube channel. You can follow me or subscribe to my channel rather, Sharon Onyinye. And you can check me out on Instagram, Sharon.Onyinye. That's ONYINYE.
And you, Jesse, same question. Where can viewers follow you, learn more about you? And do you have anything coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. You can follow me on YouTube, youtube.com/Jesse Showalter. And I'm on Instagram and Twitter at I am Jesse Show. It's like right there. And then if you want to, you can go to my website, jesseshowalter.com, and click on newsletter, because I may or may not be releasing a few courses pretty soon that might be helpful to people when it comes to portfolios, career, freelancing, and design. So I would love to have you guys there as well. So check me out.
Love that. I definitely smash that subscribe button on both of those YouTube channels. And well, also follow Blush at Blush Design app for information on our next roast, my portfolio. We'll be setting up a form so you can just put your information and everything, a link, and tell us specifically which project you want us to review. And that's it until our next community roast. Bye for now. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.